Hello, and welcome back to Caregiver Chronicles. This is part two of our interview with Dave Carter. He's the head of our local Cub Scout pack, and he was discussing how scouts have been helpful to his kids, to our kids, and can be helpful to other kids throughout the area here, and how your local scout troop could also be helpful to you. So give it a listen. Here is part two of our interview.
So yeah, it's a lovely program, and this might sound selfish, but with my youngest being, being a second grader, he's if you count this year, he's only got 4 years left of the program, and that means I've got an expiration date as the leader of the pack, in that 4 years. So I've got to make sure that my kids have the best opportunity they possibly can. I know, and Jeremy, we talked about this back in March, right before shutdown, about possibly setting up a Boy Scout crew in town, because we don't have one in our town currently, and I believe every community can benefit from a scouting program, and we need to bring one back to Killingly. And so there's that on the back burner. There's all these little things, but ultimately, if that didn't happen and they went to a program that was already well established, they might not have room for another adult leader, and all of a sudden I've got an expiration date of 4 years with the program, although I just got the job, and I have to find and train a replacement between now and then. So yeah, it's really, as much as it's been really beneficial for my kids, it's been really beneficial to me, and I certainly hope every family that we have has that same experience. And I know volunteering to be a leader isn't in everybody's schedule, because we've all got, our baggage, which sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. But it's been very rewarding, and I'm happy that I have the opportunity with my family to do this. And I know, you guys are some of the most supportive parents that we have, and thank you both for being there and helping make us awesome.
Like I said, scouting, just the group in general has been super supportive. When I was sick, you came and brought stuff to us without, you were one of the first people to offer to help us out when we were in quarantine. You reached out to me in the past when I was having problems with regressions with Joey and things like that. And so have other scout leaders and parents and stuff. And I'm just appreciative of that, in the sense of community, in the sense of, I don't know what the right word is, but almost like a family, kind of like a second family, like a support system that you have.
Sarah, you're, without even knowing it, you are echoing what was said in all these texts we had in the leadership group chat earlier. And this is one thing I'm gonna take the veil down for a minute. As much as I say I'm the leader of the pack, technically I'm not, which is great, because ultimately it's not my fault if things go bad. Above the Cub Master, there is the committee chair, and then above the committee chair is the charter organization representative, and that's basically the person, we are chartered with Westfield Congregational Church, and they're the ones that we're with them. They basically hold insurance for us. That's their main focus, and they get the accolades of being able to sponsor a scout program in town, and by everything that we do, we make them look good because of it, and we thank them for letting us be what we are. Well, in that chat, our council unit representative Mike, he said that he's one, he's active in the church, who at one point in his life was very active in scouts, and he still is. He doesn't have a direct connection to us except for being the church representative. He said in that chat that scouting is his second family. And that's one reason, because the whole question was, well, can we continue with our town being red because of COVID? And he immediately came up with all these PDFs that council had put out and what the Department of Health had put out. And it was to help take that burden off of, especially me, where I'm like, no, we need to stop doing anything in person. And the stuff in person's fun. So, nobody wants to make that call. But he was the one out there was saying, no, you're doing the right thing, and the safety of our family is more important than getting together for a little bit. And it was exactly what you just said. Scouting is a family, and when it comes to helping each other out, Sarah, that's what friends do. That's what family does. Personally, I come from a very small family. For example, I have 2 first cousins. That's it. And frankly, they don't live anywhere around here, and I like you guys a heck of a lot better than them anyway.
I think we can all say that about someone in our family, right?
Yeah. Oh, I hit a nerve.
No, we're good. Yeah. I like everybody in this house anyway.
Excellent. Well, that's why you live with them.
I've considered moving once or twice, but without them, that's frowned upon, though.
We go back to our COVID plan of isolating the 4 different rooms.
Oh, and our COVID plan, our spare room was briefly my classroom back in the spring, and secretly I yearned for it to be a classroom again because now it's got Netflix in it. So, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, Sarah, we spoke back before school started about what we're doing with our kids, and everything that we've been through over the past year, health-wise, with my wife. She decided to take the time off. Thankfully, we're at a point financially where it's a burden, but it's not that big of a deal. We can adjust. And then that's just through family things that it's been very well planned for. We had our children later than a lot of our peer group did. Like one of my high school classmates became a grandmother, and our oldest is 9. And so it's just the world we live in. And so my wife's able to stay home with the kids. She is a certified teacher on a couple levels. She was employed as a special educator prior to her us choosing for her to stay home. And so that she's been able to advocate for our son's needs and make sure that they both get their Zoom meetings done, no matter how much fun they are. If I get another email from one of the teachers with the signature, "Oh, kindest regards," I'm going to lose it. I think we all know what that really means. But we're all doing, as the Scouts say, we're doing the best we can. We're doing our best every single day. And one reason we chose to keep our boys home, not only because of my wife's health and my mom's health, because we kept mom in the quarantine, that way we can separate, divide and conquer. Like, hey, you go live at your grandma's house for a couple days because you're driving up a wall. Yeah. And honestly, Jeremy, it was beneficial because one day my mom had cancer surgery back in January, and she's a retired teacher also, who I convinced her to re-up her certification just in case this became an issue with keeping the boys home. And it was beginning of April, and we went over there one day on a Sunday afternoon unannounced. She's in the garden in the rain shoveling manure with the neighbors, and one neighbor works at Home Depot, the other neighbor works at a healthcare facility that wasn't faring so well even then. And we're like, "No, Mom, you can't hang out with them right now or for a long time." And she's like, "Oh, I gotta get my stuff done." And I'm like, "You know what, here, you take this kid for a while." And by giving our 9-year-old the responsibility that, hey, you go live at your grandmother's, you get your work done. She would let you get away with murder in front of her if you wanted to, but you can keep her out of trouble. And he rose to the occasion. And gosh, I got so off track there. You can tell there's also a little bit of ADD mixed in there with dyslexia. Yes. So we had this conversation about, do we send our kids back or not? And keeping mom safe in my quarantine crew is the most important thing I got going on, because I know I'm the weak link in my family. I was the one going to Walmart all summer, doing everybody's shopping, from my dad, who lives alone, who's an obese diabetic with MS, to my mom, who's a cancer survivor, who was watching our kids just because we need to keep her in our crew because there's no one else in the family really. And we decided that if we removed our children from the burden of attending school every single day, as long as the town provided an equitable education, it would allow the town to focus their resources on the students who absolutely needed to be there. And the students like your Joey, who can't get everything they need out of a Zoom meeting. I mean, I'm glad they were able to open it up so they could at least go back under some pretense a little more than everybody else, so they can get what they need to be successful.
We're definitely grateful for that too. But it's like you said, when people in the community step up, things are better for everybody all around. Even wearing masks, when everybody wears the mask, we all know that. We don't need to get into that. I get so mad about the masks.
Yeah. Hey, I can't wait for us to go full sci-fi dystopian future where we get full face helmets with HUD displays, and I can just make myself look like I'm in Star Wars every single day
I
and have it be
just
socially
want to
acceptable.
wear what I have to wear to work into Walmart one day, in front of a bunch of no mask people. Just grab somebody who doesn't have a mask on and be like, "You need to come with me right now," and just see what happens. I think it would be entertaining, but probably illegal.
Yeah. Now the local Walmart has stepped up the police presence, and you hope it's to pass out, those fines we keep hearing about will be given for people who violate public safety issues, but unfortunately they're probably just for parking violations.
I was there this evening, and I did see a police officer there, but I didn't see him in the store. But I did see a guy yelling at an associate without a mask on, and I was like, I'm gonna get far away from this guy.
Going back to the scouting in the community, the Connecticut Science Center has monthly days coming up where scouts get in at a reduced rate as long as they wear the uniform or carry their ID card. And over the summer, we went with our family, and they had a very good presentation about how a sneeze can travel 27 feet, but if you're wearing a mask, it can't. And wow, if the 7-year-old can understand this, why can't the rest of the population? But
just a little bit. But no, definitely. That's definitely true. I don't know. People don't know science, but again, of course. Is there anything you want to say about how to join Scouts? If anybody that's listening is interested in putting their children in Scouts, I know that the Scouts do accept girls now. I know that there are some families who have concerns about that. And I've always seen little sisters or younger siblings or older sisters of Cub Scouts come in, and they've always participated in the activity.
First up, at our level at the Cubs, I don't think you're going to find any leader, especially in Pack 43 currently, to say, no, I'm sorry, but the sibling can't participate. At the very least, they might find a polite way to say this activity might not be age appropriate. For example, you don't want a lion at kindergarten level showing up at a bear meeting, which is 3rd grade, learning how to play with a knife, not play, but learning how to use a knife safely. So there are things that are age appropriate. I am trying to push, because as much as we've got a larger pack in the area. We've got about 30 scouts right now on the roster, which that might seem like a lot, but ultimately to me it doesn't, based on just going to different scouting activities and or what they tell you online you should have. And so I'm trying to promote, hey, at the pack meetings, when we're able to have pack meetings, obviously, have every den leader say, hey, our next activity is going to be this. We're meeting at this place and at this time, and it's open to anybody, because a lot of the activities the scouts do overlap. Like almost every group has an assignment to an obstacle course, or a healthy eating snack, or something along those lines, where you could attend a different meeting but still get an important message out of it. And with the subject of the young ladies being invited in, people are very passionate about that. And maybe it's because I'm new, but I don't see the big deal, especially at the Cub level. I mean, there are rules in place. At one point they did want to have the young ladies be with a female leader for youth protection, and no one wants to argue youth protection, because that is the most important thing we have. It's why we exist. But ultimately, they do the exact same activities. So, like our Tigers, which are the 1st graders, we've got a den of currently 4 young men We've got 2 male leaders to that group, and we've got a 5th young lady who joined, and her mom stepped up to be a leader, at least on paper. And I got to be honest, they're going to have an awesome program if just those scouts stay together and they never change. Because they've got 3 passionate adults, they've got 5 involved scouts, and the parents who aren't the registered leaders, they're still involved anyway. I mean, scouting isn't a daycare service, so I don't think I've ever seen a parent drop their kid and run, especially in Cubs. And parents, they're going to get involved. They're going to bring their siblings, and don't forget, not to get all historic on everybody, but scouting started in England. The founder of the Girl Scouts of America went over there, saw how great it was, brought the idea back, and then started the GSA. Boy Scouts, now Scouts BSA, started a few years after that in response to, okay, the boys need a program. So it's never been one program here in the States. Around the world, scouting is co-ed. We just happen to have 2 separate private organizations that will never join. But because they were founded off of each other's principles, they have so many things in common. The Girl Scout Promise and the Scout Oath and Law are pretty much word for word the same thing. And I think it's awesome the fact that we can have a young lady excel in both Girl Scouts and Scouts BSA. And honestly, if I ever have the opportunity to meet someone who's earned Girl Scouts First Class and an Eagle Scout, that's someone I want to work with. That's somebody I want on my team if I'm recruiting for a business or a program. This is somebody who is going to be awesome just because of what they've done. And when we first joined, and that because we joined right on the time that was becoming like a well-known thing. My oldest, our joined Weeblo group here, he looks at me, and all innocent, not for any reason more than I'll explain in a minute, he says, "So, Daddy, when can I join the Girl Scouts?" And I look at him, and I knew the reason he was asking. And I had to very politely say, well, at this time, I don't see that happening. They could change. I don't think it's going to happen, though, while you're still of scouting age. And he was asking not because, he identifies, I'm not putting words in my kid's mouth, not that he feels like he really should be a she. And if that happens one day, I will accept my child as my child. He was asking because his best friend is a young lady whose mom is they're in 4th grade now? The 4th grade leader for Girl Scouts in town. And that mom they do so many awesome trips where I got to be honest, I want to join her group rather than our group just because of how awesome she is. So, and on the flip side, I've also been using my contacts in the Girl Scouts to say, hey, so since your kids can join both, why don't you come on over and see how cool we are?
So if anybody does want to join the Scouts, what would be the way for them to do that?
Okay. So there are several websites. They have changed. So if I give out the wrong one, please use Google. Everybody seems to do that. I believe it's beascout.org or Scout Me In. Those are the big things you look for. You're going to find I guarantee there's a website that says find an organization, find a unit. That's because we're all units. Whether you're a Cub Scout pack, whether you're a Boy Scout troop, whether you're a Sea Scout ship or an adventure crew, these are all considered units. So you're going to find a unit. They're going to search by your zip code. They're going to find a local one. I mean, from experience, as a kid who basically said, no, I don't want to join Scouts, not in my town, you're going to want to figure out, is this one that's open to students or Scouts in my locality? And before you commit to anything, make sure you find out how large the group is and how long it's been established, because that can make a big deal. We've had a couple of changes in the local scouting area. We've had a couple of groups reorganized, and we've had members that weren't thrilled with the way it was reorganized. So we've actually gained because of that, and all these kids have come down to see us. They didn't fit in at first, but I think now 2 months into this school year, they're doing better, and we're getting more every day. And it's because of our media presence. We're throwing it out there that we got a really good program in Killingly. So that's what I'd tell parents are in the area and your listeners around the world, that every scouting, I believe, is almost in every country out there. Whether it's not, it's World Scouting as an organization founded on the principles of Lord Baden-Powell, where you find a group in your locality, check it out. They're not going to make you throw down some money and fill out paperwork the first night there. You can always check it out and see if it's something that your kid, wants to be a part of. If there's volunteer opportunities for parents, I strongly recommend you check those out too. And I'm sure there's more, but that's all I got right now.
No, that's great. We want to thank you very much for coming on, Dave. We really appreciate your time. I know that you're very busy.
Well, thank you both for having us.
No, we're very grateful. And like we said, scouting has been an amazing experience for our family. And I felt like you guys were so important. I didn't want to not have you on.
And I know I appreciate you acknowledging how great we are. And I do want to throw one more thing that's coming out. And I know as soon as we finish this conversation, I'm going to think of 5 more things I should have said, as we all do. But if you remember back at Crossover, which I should say a quarantine crossover back in July, we're in the park, we're all masked up, we're celebrating the kids crossing over, and you guys, I forget what it was, but you guys couldn't make it, so we gave out your award at the September meeting. Okay. Those pins in that award, and for your listeners, at the September meeting, the PAC presented the Brown family with a pin that basically said thank you. And it acknowledged everything you guys have done for the PAC, most specifically providing the group with the opportunity to write those thank you those thinking of you cards to your residents. So it gave the entire PAC the opportunity to earn the Messenger of Peace badge, which is a really big deal, in case I haven't said that enough already. When those, and you guys know me, I'm a scrounger. I strongly believe that every person you ever meet fits into the movie The Great Escape with Steve McQueen. And every personality type fits in there. And Jeremy, you're going to back me up on that.
That's an excellent movie.
Everybody wants to be the king of cool Steve McQueen. It's taken me so long to realize that I am James Garner, the scrounger. And I had the opportunity, once again, through scouting, to help out. Go figure, you're helping out in scouting. What a novel idea. A good longtime friend of mine has always been involved in the local scouting program, and that was with that closeout sale they had of surplus items from that closed down shop. And this is all new old stock, but like several years out of date. And we did so much over the summer to hook up all of our families with stuff at a discount to make sure that we're changing uniform colors. We're able to get it at a reasonable price, and it was so awesome to be a part of that. While we were cleaning out the stuff, I found all these pins with the outdated artwork, and I couldn't imagine what they were for. But it was, hey, why don't we get these as a pack and pass them out as a thank you? Because one thing the Cub Scouts do put on, and the pins got the stylized wolf on there, whose name's Akela. Akela being from Lord Baden-Powell's idea of following the Jungle Book as inspiration for the scouting program. Akela being the wolf pack leader, Akela being, your parent, your teacher. It's a way to acknowledge everything that you guys have done for Pack 43, for Remy, for Joey, and saying, thank you for being a part of it. We are stronger because you're in our pack. So thank you both very much for being awesome.
And it really, like I said, it really does mean a lot to be part of your group, and it means a lot to have you on our show. With that, we're going to wrap up this week's episode. So we want to thank Dave and Pack 43 again, and for more information about the Cub Scouts, Dave said the website scoutmein.org, right? I forgot.
Google's a wonderful thing. It's out there
Google
somewhere.
Scouts.
Google your local scouting chapter and join. And if you have any questions, we'd love to have Dave back. But if our listeners have any questions about scouting and what it is like for us, or any questions in general about our family and what's going on, you can find us at Jeremy Go.
We're on Twitter at CaregiverChron1, on Instagram Caregiver Chronicles 2, at Caregiver Chronicles on Facebook, and on Caregiver Chronicles on Anchor. And on Anchor, you can actually record yourself asking a question. If you do so, we'll actually play it on the podcast and answer it. And then if you want to hear, and if you're not on social media, please reach us at caregiverchroniclespod@gmail.com.
Yes, and thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week.